don't want to make you feel colder. No. This is sort of a counter irritant. I'm going to talk about people in the 18th century being really cold, and it'll make you feel warm. After all, you are probably in a nice warm location, even if it isn't hot. Let's say you're not in a sauna. It's not 120 degrees where you're at. It's warmer than the 18th century people. I can guarantee it. Here's the nutmeg. There's our tea. Welcome to the 18th century. We are in the Nutmeg Tavern today, and we are live. We're being transported through time to whatever viewing portal you happen to have. And I hope you are having a good afternoon. We've got this fun topic of winter. Why? Because it's winter out right now, and it's gonna get really cold. In fact, I was someplace warm, and I had to come home because it was going to be really cold, and so on and so forth, etc., etc. But I'm here, and so we're going to have fun in the Nutmeg Tavern today. I have a nice warm drink. And the topic is winter and what people were doing in the 18th century in the winter, and we're just going to go all over the place. We're just going to be sort of randomly throwing the darts at the dartboard of winter to see what's going on. I've got a few pictures, not very many. I've got some readings. I've got some poems. I've got a journal. I've got lots of things to touch on, and we will have fun. I hope you do stay warm in this live stream. You can come over here by the fire, warm up, or warm up by your fire at home, and hopefully you will stay warm all weekend and into the next week. Anyway, one of the strange things, it was commented upon today. We went to the post office and there were gardening catalogs. And you're thinking, gardening. Yeah, you want these gardening catalogs because you're ready for it to be warm and you can be out planting things. They were thinking about their gardens in the winter in the 18th century, and they were doing the work that needed to be done in the gardens in the 18th century in the winter time so that they would be ready for the spring. And here's the calendar of the kitchen and fruit garden. The sections aren't long for January and February, but they are here. Let everything be done that the weather will admit of. Wheel in dung, prepare the ground for future crops, and in a warm and a sheltered situation, you may sow radishes, spinach, lettuce, parsley, and early peas and beans. Okay, well, good luck trying to break the ground around here.
Right, makes you long for the milder climate they
Obviously,
have.
they had some milder stuff to work with. February, continue work as above. Also, plant garlics, chives, shallots, potato onions. I'm not sure what a potato onion is. And tree onions. Again, not sure. And then make hotbeds. So they were using different kinds of gardening technology there. Now, this is high-end gardening. You know, some of these like big estates would have these massive formal gardens and regular kitchen gardens that had like little greenhouses. They had the little houses you put down on the ground, so like miniature greenhouses around plants. They even had bell cloches that they would put over the top of plants. So they had a lot of different technologies that they used. They even grew hothouse vegetables in the 18th century for winter vegetable crops. But again, pretty high-end stuff. I don't have any, this is not in any particular order. So as we fumble around through, well, it's a variety show, okay? We're going to do a sing and dance, and then we're going to do something else. Here we go. Our infant winter sinks, divested of its grandeur. Should our eye astonished shoot into the frigid zone where for relentless months continual night holds over the glittering waste her starry reign. There, though the prison of unbounded wilds, barred by the hand of nature from escape, wild roams the Russian exile. Naught around strikes his sad eye, but deserts, something like that, lost in the snow, and heavy loaded groves and solid floods that stretch athwart the solitary waste. And on it goes, talking about some kind of cold, wintry something.
Boy, it sure gives you the feel of it.
Yeah.
It's feeling specifically very Arctic outside. It's about as Arctic as it ever gets for us here.
It can be pretty,
Yeah.
but only to look at, not to actually walk in for any great period of time. This is Dublin sometime in the 18th century, July 19th, written in July 19th. Maybe they're down south?
I'm not sure.
Here we go. The crew of the Friendly Adventure, Captain Broderick, which was fitted out in the Thames, and last month in the Greenland seas, are brought home in the Young Eagle, arriving on Saturday in the river. The loss of this ship was in the following manner. They were in a clear sea surrounded with ice, with a moderate breeze at the southwest, which on a sudden changed to the north by south and blew in hard squalls. The fields of ice began to drive as it is usual, and all the hands were employed with their ice poles, etc. A large piece of ice from which they could by no means escape came at length and stove in the starboard bow. The ship immediately closed, and so that it was without difficulty that they got out any chest or supplies or provisions, and in less than an hour the ship sunk. Luckily there was the Young Eagle and two other ships in sight. The Eagle, being the nearest to them, sent a relief and brought them off the ice where they must otherwise have perished. And then it talks of two Dutch ships that went down in the same storm, and some other situations. So here they are in the sort of North Seas. They're just arrived back, so maybe it was in the spring or sometime. The stories about ships in either extreme southern waters or extreme northern waters, and dealing with the wintertime is just harrowing. So if you read wow, that candle's going nuts.
Uh-oh.
Had to use my nutmeg to do that. Sacrifice. If you read 2 Years Before the Mast, he talks about going around Cape Horn, and very, very difficult passage. And of course, you really have to time it just right, or else you're there at the winter time, which is not a good time to be there. And trying to work the onboard ship equipment, the ropes, the sails, when it's frozen out, it was just like nearly impossible. And it's hard to imagine them up, on the masts, hanging by ropes that are frozen. They don't have the kind of work gloves that we do today. So they're, most of the time just barehanded up there in that kind of shrieking, very, very cold, icy, and snowy weather. It's amazing that anyone ever made that kind of a trek. If you want to, definitely, I would suggest reading that, the 2 Years Before the Mast. He actually has to go around, twice. So they go out to California and they come back. And I think when he's going, he ends up with a big toothache. So half the time he can't even go out to work. So really, really good reading, and that's like a journal from the time period, not It's not fiction or anything like that. So excellent. Do you have this this advertisement, Ivy, the John Seaman for the muffs and tippets?
Hold on, I'm looking.
Yes, I'm pretty sure she does. I think it might have actually been that first one you saw.
They're working hard there on this.
Yeah, does it say muffs and tippets like later on in the second part? No, I'm sorry, that's the wrong one. That's the one.
That's all right. You keep looking for that one. I'm going to keep going on. Portsmouth in the province of New Hampshire. The storm comes home to this inclement clime. And Boreas joins the winter with recruit of cold collected from the frigid zone. Now, no time is lost to lessen or delay. Winter's wide, rapid, desolating rout. How numb, how dead is vegetation struck. Save in the evergreen, whose verdant strand, firm in the livery of perpetual spring, displays her verdure in the winter storm, and from the lofty plume with careless air tosses back to whirling winds the feathered snow. Somebody's idea of it. It's a little bit cheerier. I mean, you got some kind of green there. It's fighting back. Did you find that ad? There we go. Here we go. Advertisement. Let's see. Right on 76 William Street, next door to Mr. Samuel Gifford. He manufactures a general assortment of muffs and tippets. I believe the tippet is the hood thing, right? Consisting of Canadian or Canada marten of the first quality or inferior quality. Marten throat, real and mock ermine, Russian and Siberian squirrel, which I'm interested in. What is Russian or Siberian squirrel? Ground squirrel. I don't know why anybody would make anything out of a ground squirrel. There isn't enough to a ground squirrel, fur or otherwise, to do much with. Red fox, real black genet, Russian hare, and fur trimmings and edgings for cloaks and riding dresses, etc. Cloak linings, greatcoat linings lined with fur. Man, can you imagine a greatcoat lined with fur? Caps, gloves. Of course, he is selling them on the most reasonable terms for cash.
It looks like the Russian squirrel is the red squirrel. The cute little pointy-eared one.
Yeah. Okay. Well, again, I'm not sure how many. Well, I mean, mink aren't very big, like for a mink coat.
No, that's
true. But a
true.
squirrel's is much smaller. So
no, there must be an art to kind of piecing them together.
Yeah. My squirrel coat. Here is another advertisement, and this one was interesting. Nathan Merrill begs leave to inform his good customers at his late Tavern in, what is it? Poplin? As others elsewhere, that he has lately removed to Greenland, not the Greenland you're thinking of, and now occupies the house known by the name of Clark Tavern, a few rods south of the meeting house, about 5 miles from Portsmouth, lately improved by Captain Weeks. And there he has every convenience for stabling, excellent keeping for cattle, he probably means the horses, and requests the favor of a continuance of their custom. Those who may have occasion to travel in the winter with loaded sleighs may be in every way accommodated. Such gentlemen as pleased to favor him with their custom may depend on being faithfully served on the most reasonable terms that can be expected, and the smallest favors generally acknowledged. Why don't we have advertisements like that these days?
I know, they look so pretty.
Yeah.
They sound great.
Yeah, I just want to beg my previous customers, I could serve them again if they're really interested. I've got Feed for your horses. Let's see. I think. Oh yeah. I won't read the whole of this because it doesn't. It doesn't need. It doesn't. It's really hard to read, but it had such a funny line in it that we just had to have it. So, comrade, last winter you remember well. Beside the fire, you did assume to tell the charms of summer. Comrade, what a theme! When I perceived your maggot in that cream. I felt such pleasure, you'd heaven the bliss repay, even such as fat cook wenches feel when they prepare for keen burgesses a treat. And on and on and on he goes with his little thing there. I am not sure exactly where this... when I perceived your maggot in that cream, but...
it's an idiom that certainly stands out, that's for sure.
Wow. I've got some sections here from Pop's Journal, but before I get there, it's a little early, but I want to get to what we've got here, and that is we had some gifted memberships, so I have a bunch of new and renewing members and Patreon folks. So let me get to this really quick. New and renewing. Jared Robbins, Lucky Amon, Nicole Luttrell, Isaiah Rarick, Hanny Jafar, Curtis Couthart, James Gibbs, Silver Zephyr, Ferris Nyo, Chair Boat, Slim Monk, Astrid James, Adam, here's Sarah's Watch, Lazy Hobbit, Spelling Tuesday, Liam, Disposable Yetopomus. Let's see. Rujesse Sowers, Zachary Hensley, Jitterbug 7129, Nate Wilson, Kelso Nunez, and Melinda, and these are new Patreon folks, Melinda Carlius and Green Glade 47.
Mm-hmm. I do have some. I've got Max Harcool sends in 5 gifted memberships. Thank you. And then there's a super chat from The Waits Experience. No comment on it. And then there is a gifted membership from David Maxwell. So
thank you so much.
And I've lost, somebody was commenting earlier and I've lost it because sometimes the chat holds stuff and sometimes it jumps. So I lost this one. But somebody was saying hi to Ivy. So you can say hi.
Hello.
Ivy's here. She gets to be the quietest one out of all of us. Lucky Ivy.
Well,
we're gonna try to change that.
I have a quiet job of just I just sit back here and make sure everything goes okay. That's all.
So let's look at Pop's Journal. So in the book called The Hessians, which is actually a compilation here of The Hessians by Edward Lowell. And then we've got 2 sort of journal or sort of essays from the time period. One is the voyage of the First Hessian Army, which is talking about their ship ride, which is pretty incredible. They're coming over to New York in 1776, and then Pop's Journal here. I believe he was a Hessian from 1777 to 1783. And Pop's Journal is just a really short little section at the end here, but there's several times when he talks, when the entries are in winter, that are kind of interesting. Just giving us because they move so quickly, he only really writes sometimes every week or two. So, kind of goes really quickly. December 22nd in, let's see, I'm not sure, 1777. Moved across the Schuylkill River in very cold weather. Lay all night in the open, although it was snowing, and our supplies of food were very scanty. A week later, they returned to their old quarters. That was 1777. And the next year, they're in winter quarters already in October 29th, which is very rare. Usually you kind of keep going there. Went into winter quarters in Newport in old empty houses, very badly suited, and the food worse. Little bread, and that made of rice and Indian cornmeal instead of meat had fish, and that not enough to thrive on. Go on, maps. Much to die of starvation. We had to bake our own bread out of wretched corn. He goes on to December 14th. Admiral Byron sailed for the West Indies. It began to snow on Christmas Day and continued until the 27th. The snow lay 3 to 4 feet deep. The cold was very severe. 9 of our men of our regiment were frozen to death. 23 men had their hands and feet badly frostbitten. A woman with 2 children was frozen to death in her house. Even the supply of drinking water was frozen. See, could be worse. December 29th, marched out into the country. Could buy only frozen potatoes at $2 Spanish for the bushel. Fortunately, a boat brought meat and rum, which helped us to stand the cold. January. This is his whole... He only has one entry for January. He just says, January. We got little food and that very poor. The supply of food from New York, February 19th. And then March. Half the regiment was sick with scorbutic diseases and many died. That was just 1778 there and 1779. 1780, he says, North River was frozen so hard that heavy guns were carried over the ice. The cold weather lasted all month. January 12th, an English sentry was frozen to death on his post. Many soldiers were frostbitten in their quarters. And nothing else that's necessarily winter related. So he has a lot of different entries there that talk about, here's December 25th, the next year, or in 1780, a boat with 19 men was lost in a heavy storm in the East River. I didn't have that reading of the boat, the other boat that was frozen in the ice. So the one I read was one where the ice floe kind of jammed into the boat and sank it. But there was another reading that had a boat that actually was frozen in, and that is, kind of scary. Your ship can only take so much of that, and then it will crack and break. I don't think theirs didn't do that, did it?
I don't think it did.
Right. Right. What have you got for me?
You want to look through our slides? Yes. I think there's this one. There you go. This vendor is selling some things that would make winter much better. So
yeah, just imported for sale by Frederick Cockle, and he has porter, which kind of fortified beer kind of stuff there. He's got Whitney rose blankets.
Oh, that'd help. Yep. Right.
So a rose blanket, they had sort of designs in the corners, sort of a, they would call them roses, but they were just sort of a round design that was either embroidered or woven into the blanket, depending on the blanket. What else do we have here? We have warming pans. Mm-hmm. So warming pans for the wintertime to warm up, the beds and all that good stuff. Shovels and tongs, tea kettles, coffee urns, brass kettles, bellows, frying pans. we don't think about the kinds of things you need around the fireplace a lot because we don't have to deal with our fireplaces very often.
No. So I was over at Mom and Dad's house taking care of their wood stove, which I had not done in a long time. And they do not have a fire poker. And I was really wishing I had one. Just because every once in a while I like to fuss with a fire. And so I wanted to move the logs around and poke them with things.
Well, we should probably have one of those short blow tubes. Occasionally, it's not. Usually, we just open up the draft door and.
I really didn't, because of the way the wood fire worked. I really didn't feel like blowing on it. It worked great. The airflow did, but I did want to poke it. I did want to poke things.
Sometimes I just use another piece of wood.
Yes.
You're generally protected. You can just poke it.
But I love messing with fire. But boy, having the right tools makes it a lot more fun.
Yes. What's next up on there? Lost on the 26th of December last between Hartford and West Division in a snowstorm, a buffalo skin and a chair cushion. Whoever takes up the same and will return them to the printers shall be handsomely rewarded for their trouble and receive the thanks of the owner. Also, they've got some nail rods to exchange for grain and butter if you're interested. But that's
beside the point.
Yeah, that's not really connected. They're traveling by sleigh in a snowstorm, and your stuff flies off.
Yep.
And they're probably like they didn't know, or they're like,
they weren't going to
"I'm
stop
not
and
going
get
back." It's like, forget it. Let's just keep going. There was an ad for a boat. So somebody's longboat escaped, and there was an ad for the return of it, and it was very odd because it was like a longboat, and then they described it. It's like, well, it was broken here, and it was all rotted underneath with worms here, and there was a bad spot over there, and you think,
are you sure you want it back?
right? It's like advertising. Lost my car. Had a flat tire and the roof was sheared off. You're thinking, if you found it, just keep it. Apparently a longboat is worth money, even if it did have rotten wood underneath and the stern post was rotten and the gudgeons were broken off and everything else. Like, okay, whatever. Maybe sentimental purposes. Okay, here we go. We've used so many other winter pictures that we decided not to just do another giant stack of winter pictures. But we've got this milking in the winter, and this is a Dutch painting here from the 18th century context, probably later on in the 18th century by the look of it. There are definitely changes, and by the time we get into the later part of the 18th century, it looks a little more, not almost cartoony. The realism changes.
It does. Like, there is a style shift, that's for sure.
Right. And so this is part of the later school here. But we can see it's winter outdoors. But they're warm in the inside. Now you get all these animals and everything, and it's going to be warmer, and it's probably not like super cold like it is here. There, 15 degrees. Anyway, they've got an indoor water pump. We can see she's got a really nice big brass stock pot there. There's a broom, the dog, and the cat. I like the cat. Like on that little short chair, at least seems like the chair is tiny compared to that cat.
Yes.
Either the cat is big or it's like a dollhouse chair for.
I am puzzled about what is supposed to be sitting on the chair, since the cat is dwarfing.
I think they just had a small chair for person. It may be a chair specifically for milking, so you had to be way down low.
That could be. That's true.
Anyway, fireplace with the little pot. Notice that this is a combination room. I mean, even though they're milking cows in it, it's got a fireplace. It's got hanging meat products.
Yes. Yep.
And there is a ladder to an upper loft, although I'm not sure how you get to it. Maybe you kind of
Does
take
it
that
pull
ladder off the
down?
shelf and
Yeah.
it comes down.
Somebody was wondering in the chat whether it was one of the ones where there's a house on the upper level and this barn is on the bottom. Like,
It could very, very well be that.
yeah,
I would not doubt it.
yeah, especially with the fireplace there.
Right. But it's interesting nonetheless about what's going on with it. I'm intrigued by the lantern that's hanging from the beam up there. It is something that you have to be very concerned with, open flame in a spot like this with hay and straw and whatnot hanging around. And so they do have a lantern. It isn't just, look, it's a candle. We're gonna protect ourselves more than that. Now, the artist wants to show us that it's winter outside, but I doubt they would have the doors open like that.
I think that was an artist thing, that's for
Right?
sure.
It's like, look, it's winter outside. Duh. Were you born in a barn? Shut the door. And there's some kind of a line. Oh, it's a line to hold the cow's tail out of the way.
Oh, good. Sure.
See, there's that whole row across there.
Yeah, like a
If
cleanliness
you've ever
thing.
been milking and have a cow whack you in the face with the, she's like, no, I'm gonna
Nope.
tie this thing down so that it doesn't cause me any problems. What else we got? We have a meteorological diary of weather in January of 1774. January. We have barometric pressures and we have temperatures. Now, I don't know about this year thermometer, because if you look at him, he only goes down to what, 34, 33, and it goes as high as 45, 47, 47. But yet he's talking about a smart frost.
Yeah, he is.
He's talking about a good deal of snow. So it's hard to say. Hard frost, very bright. Very generally bright, mild, pleasant. Then he has heavy rains, and it's 43, and a fair day it becomes bright. What about this day? This is the 18th. Turbulent night. A black day with scattering snow. It's a black day.
We've had some days in the past month that it felt very dim outside all day long. The clouds were just super thick, and I don't know that I would have called it black, but it was like a dark charcoal day.
So this could be Fahrenheit. It could be a little off of Fahrenheit. Maybe he's talking about the warmest part of the day, and it never gets so cold that,
Maybe their thermostat's broken.
Well, but I mean, if you think about it, you can have frost at night, and if it still warms up,
That's very
48,
true.
Right.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
it could be that those are standard Fahrenheit temperatures, and the days really stayed pretty level from really not varying more than 15 degrees that entire month. So it's hard to say. Could be though that their thermometer is, let's say, maybe not exactly
Yeah, and this one,
graduated.
I don't actually know the location. This was from a book and not a newspaper, so it might be England and not North America.
Oh yeah.
So
Quite likely. Yeah, if we look in Peter Kalm's thing, he's got sort of a meteorological thing going on there too. So what do we have? Do we have anything else? Do
you wanna-
We're back to the thing. Okay.
do you want to pause for just a second? And somebody was actually asking about our mugs. Because they had a tragic accident
Mug
where one
accident.
had gotten destroyed. So I thought that would be a good
Perfect
time.
timing. Let us pop into Mugland. We have a whole new assortment of mugs that are, some of them are necessarily Nutmeg Tavern related. Some of them are just Townsend's related. All these mugs, they're all made in the United States. They are all, hand formed and beautifully glazed with these wonderful designs on them. We have the nice shiny black. Let me get it into Nutmeg Tavern mug with the boar's head design on it. A good size. Is this a 12 ounce? 14?
14.
14,
Yeah.
right? Back by, now, are these back?
Back by popular
Back
demand.
by
That's
popular
right.
demand, and I didn't realize that we had more. I thought we had the other design, but this one is with the red. So
Yes.
the black, is it kind of glossy or is it satin?
It's actually kind of in between. And this is Burning Coals, right? With the
this
dragon
is-
logo.
Yes, Burning Coals, the dragon, a Nutmeg Tavern dragon here with the red kind of stuff there. Again, beautiful 14-ounce design. This is similar, but he's black on black.
He is. So it's matte with a satin top.
Right, so it's matte down here. You can kind of see it's matte, and then not quite so matte,
Right.
but not glossy.
And he has, this one's left-handed. So you'll see the handles on the other side. Yeah, perfect.
You look at
Yeah.
that. Left and right-handed. I'm trying to think about how.
Right, so if you're doing it, see the logo is facing out so people can see, right, when you're drinking your...
This one has the Townsend's logo on it. So with the sign with the lantern. And it is a wonderful green color, and it's called...
Oh, Verdigris.
It's
I'm
called
sorry.
Verdigris.
I was reading the chat, I'm sorry.
I get in trouble whenever I say the names because I get them all wrong, and then you guys look it up on the website and go, there isn't one called. Anyway, I was going to try and make up something funny, but on the spur of the moment, that could be dangerous, so I'm not going to do that. This one's called Verdigris. Little bit smaller, so the design is a little narrower at the bottom.
yeah, that one's, I
Probably
think,
12
12,
ounce.
yeah.
Probably 12 ounce. Very beautiful green color though, and great design. And last new one here, again a little different shape here, just a little more out. Now this is more like a teal color with this nice frosty top here. This one has the needs more nutmeg with the John character holding the nutmeg up in the forest of nutmeg trees. It needs some more nutmeg in that theme. And this one's called something something.
That one is Mountain Lake.
Mountain Lake.
Because turn it upside down.
See, these look like trees.
And it's
And this
no,
is like the
it's like a
reflection
mountain.
in the water.
Uh-huh.
And this is like
A
water.
lake. Because you can't see it here, but it's like a peacocky blue color. It kind of looks
it is.
navy,
look,
but
in natural light, it's a peacocky blue color. I know the light in here can shift colors quite a bit.
All these mugs are available. They're all available on our website. There's a link in the comments. There's a link in the chat. Or you can just go to townsends.us and type in mugs or something like that. Who knows what you will find by searching on our website. And thank you so much for your support of us when you purchase those mugs. Not only supporting James Townsend & Son and our videos, but the maker of these wonderful mugs. So, have you got anything else for me?
Okay, I don't know. Did we have any other slides? I think that was it.
nope,
I
that
think
was
we
it for
went through them.
slides.
Okay, good.
They are not salt glaze. This guy's salt glaze. We do have salt glaze
Yes,
mugs
that's true.
in our website, but these guys are not salt glaze. Generally, you don't do salt in anything other color than whatever the clay body color is. Ones like that.
Somebody was wondering about skincare in the cold and what they might have used, because I think everybody's noticing that. Like it's
Right.
starting to get kind of dry.
Yeah, and I haven't seen anything particular on that topic, especially that comes to the top of my head.
Yeah, I imagine they use tallow.
Yeah,
But
more than likely,
if they did, they don't. I don't run across them mentioning it. But
they would talk about using it in other contexts, but not necessarily in the cold weather context per se. But they had cosmetics. They would use things like tallow, even lard, spermaceti, which probably had a little bit less of a a scent to it. Even lard, if you render it a few times, you can make it less pungent, shall we say. I gotta blow this guy out before it starts up. But somebody just really wants to attack my candles. There. So yeah, you can use that kind of thing. You really don't need to do much else than hey, I'm gonna smear this on. But tallow is pretty. I guess if you warm it up in your hand, it will spread pretty well. And there are some modern cosmetics that base themselves on. Am I right?
yeah, absolutely.
Yes, that are working on that, because we've only now, seemingly strangely enough, realized that anything you put on your skin gets absorbed into your body, and maybe we should be more careful with that.
Yeah, like maybe you should be able to eat whatever it is you're using.
If you can't eat what you're spreading on your skin, maybe you shouldn't spread it on your skin. Huh, okay, there's an idea. So, the white lead in your cosmetics, let's not do that anymore. That's an 18th century thing. And, we do our own things with strange chemicals that we probably shouldn't be putting on our skin.
Are you ready for an off-topic question?
Yeah.
Okay. Random question. Do you have any tips or tricks about carving wooden spoons? My wife's favorite spoon is cracking, and I was thinking about just carving some of my own to replace it.
Carving spoons is a very, very traditional concept. And in some cultures, it's got a extremely long tradition that's specific to couples, right? So, guys carving spoons for your gals, that's a really important thing. I would definitely suggest this concept. There are some woods that lend themselves to carving. They don't necessarily make the best spoon wood ever, but they're really good for carving. And even the wood, let's say your carving technique with using extremely sharp knives lets you use a wood that generally, if you sanded it or whatever, wouldn't be a good wood for a spoon. Works out all right for a spoon if you're cutting it, because the grain is working sort of in a different way when you're cutting it versus using more modern sanding techniques, which does not work for a lot of different kinds of woods. So I've used, native to my area, poplar and basswood. Basswood is very, very soft. It makes for a quick spoon. It doesn't make one that's necessarily long-lived. Or poplar, or let's say tulip tree, that is going to make a very, very nice spoon also. And the trick on that, like the cracking part of it is it does have to you want to carve it when it's wet, when it's a green wood, and then you need to have it dry slowly so it doesn't crack. Or make a half a dozen and expect 3 of them to crack and 3 of them to survive. But generally, if you pick the right kind of wood, like I just suggested, they will last for quite a while, and they're a great project. And you can learn so much about sort of working with wood, getting a carving kit. And you can do it with just straight, very, very sharp knives, like razor knives that you can get. But using the tools specifically for carving spoons, you will have a bit more fun. And we do offer bowl carving kits and spoon carving kits on our website. So specifically a kind of knife that's meant for hollowing out the spoon section, which is very hard to do with anything but a knife that's specifically meant for that. And then other sharper knives to work on the outer portions of that. And you don't need a saw necessarily. You can, just go out and, I would just, I live in a giant pile of tulip trees, so I just randomly go out and say, that one's about the right size, and cut it down, split it, and start carving a spoon.
Okay, I've got a couple super chats here. So this one is a sticker, and I believe it is an excited lemon from, that's him with the, sorry, it's a long name. So it cuts with the daft hat. There you go.
Okay.
And can you see the excited lemon? Okay, there you go.
can.
Do you think it's a lemon?
Yes.
Okay, good. I wonder sometimes about my interpretation.
He's probably a little bigger on my screen than he is on
Okay,
yours.
okay. Okay, then let me find out the name on this one too, because I don't think it used to cut off the names. Okay, so this one's from Teddy the Fourth. Just got laid off, so I can finally watch the live stream. Can I get a huzzah?
Huzzah! I don't know if losing your job is getting laid off is good. Although it might be the perfect time of year. It's like I think I'm going to stay in my house for 2 weeks.
Right? Like safer this way, at least for a little while.
Wow. So now there are some people who are like, I needed a
Yep,
enforced vacation.
I was
Getting
burning
laid off
out.
is a good
I needed
thing.
a bit of time. Okay, I think we're all caught up.
I'm not sure. I know that we have the wonderful potato episode coming up. I am not sure what's next because it's so cold out, but that nobody wants to go out and shoot an episode.
Very true. You could do one in here.
We might just do a Nutmeg Tavern episode
Could do a
for the main channel.
hot drink. That's
yeah,
what we need.
maybe. I'll suggest it to Ryan. Maybe I'll
Right?
do that.
Sometimes there are environmental factors to what videos we do.
Because the German kitchen that we shoot in, even in the wintertime, is not necessarily warm.
Yeah, it's got a wood fire stove, but boy, when it's this cold, it's got to fight hard to get it toasty in there.
I really want to thank everyone for their amazing support of what we do on the channel. We do a lot of strange, weird things. The world looks at what we do on our channel and goes, what are you doing? But you guys are here, and you help us make this episode each and every week, and the regular cooking episodes and all kinds of episodes we do. So you are to thank. Yes, it's your fault that I'm here doing what it is that I'm doing. So thank you so much. Thank you, Lauren. Thank you, Ivy. I hope you have a warm and fun weekend. Thanks for watching.